Welcome! Thank you for joining me for Monday Tea Time. My name is Rachel Lundy, and I blog at cranberryteatime.com, where I share about life with a chronic illness and the hope and joy that can be found in Christ. Hey! Thanks for coming back. I'm not sure what happened a few minutes ago. I was talking and then I got a notice saying that Periscope had stopped. But thanks for coming back. Hi, Kim. Hi, Mom. I'd love to hear your name or see your name and where you're from. If you're new to Periscope, you can leave hearts by tapping on the screen. That's just kind of like nodding your head, saying, I'm here, I'm listening. Hi, Amy. It's good to see you. And if you're watching the live broadcast, you can leave comments. Yay, I'm so glad you made it live, Kim. You can leave comments if you're watching the live broadcast. You can only leave hearts if you're watching the replay. But thanks for joining me here today. Hopefully Periscope will work this time. I seem to have had a lot of problems with Periscope connections lately. Today I want to share about the Proverbs 31 woman. This is what I wanted to share last week and couldn't because I got too brain fogged. So hopefully this will go okay today. I studied the Proverbs 31 woman this fall in a Bible study, and today I want to share 3 things that just really stood out to me in that study. A couple weeks ago, if you missed it, you might want to go back and watch the replay on catch.me/Rachel E. Lundy. I shared about just one simple tip that makes it easier to be a Proverbs 31 woman. So you can watch that if you missed it. You might find that helpful or encouraging. Today I want to share 3 specific ways you can be a Proverbs 31 woman if you have a chronic illness. I hope this will still be helpful for you even if you're healthy. I hope that it would still encourage you, or maybe it would be good information that you can encourage a chronically ill friend with if she's struggling with knowing how to be a Proverbs 31 wife or Proverbs 31 woman while dealing with a chronic illness. And before starting, I want to go ahead and read Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31, just to give us an overview of this woman and her character. So this is Proverbs 31, 10 through 31. An excellent wife who can find? She is far more precious than jewels. The heart of her husband trusts in her, and he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not harm all the days of her life. She seeks wool and flax, and works with willing hands. She is like the ships of the merchant. She brings her food from afar. She rises while it is yet night, and provides food for her household and portions for her maidens. She considers a field and buys it. With the fruit of her hands she plants a vineyard. She dresses herself with strength and makes her arms strong. She perceives that her merchandise is profitable. Her lamp does not go out at night. She puts her hands to the distaff, and her hands hold the spindle. She opens her hand to the poor, and reaches out her hands to the needy. She is not afraid of snow for her household, for all her household are clothed in scarlet. She makes bed coverings for herself. Her clothing is fine linen and purple. Her husband is known in the gates when he sits among the elders of the land. She makes linen garments and sells them. She delivers sashes to the merchant. Strength and dignity are her clothing, and she laughs at the days to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. She looks well to the ways of her household, and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praises her. Many women have done excellently, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceitful, and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the fruit of her hands, and let her works praise her in the gates. So this woman is excellent. She's noble and capable. She's trustworthy. She does her husband good all the days of her life. She does her work willingly and with delight. She is wise, and most importantly, she fears the Lord. There is so much that could be said about this chapter, but today I just want to give you 3 things that you can do to be a Proverbs 31 woman if you have a chronic illness. Number 1 is help the poor. In verse 20, it says, she opens her hand to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. Now, if you have a chronic illness, at first glance, it may not seem like this is something that's very easy to do. You may not have the energy to work in a soup kitchen or serve food at a food bank. And chronic illness may affect your finances so much that you need to go to the food bank yourself. So you may not have much you can give physically or financially. But I encourage you to find something you can do. Start small. Maybe it's something like bringing a few food items to your church's food shelf. Maybe it's passing down clothes that your children have outgrown to a family that's in need. I would love to hear your ideas if you have things that you can do to reach out to the poor that are easy for you to do when you're physically limited. And I want to share 2 of my favorite ways to reach out to the poor. These are things that are physically easy for me to do. One is Operation Christmas Child. It's a really neat ministry through Samaritan's Purse, where you pack shoeboxes with Christmas gifts for children that are brought all around the world. And this is something I work on throughout the year. I'll set items aside, like at school shopping time. I'll buy extra crayons and pencils, things like that, when they're really cheap, and set those aside for shoeboxes in November. In a few weeks is when they're going to be doing the collection. And another way you can do that, I've never done this, but you can build shoeboxes online, and it only costs $25. So if you just set aside a couple dollars every month all year long, then at the end of the year you can pay $25 and you can just build a shoebox online, and you choose the items you want to go in it, and then someone will pack it for you. So that's something you can do from bed with a laptop, but it's still a very practical, tangible way you're reaching out to the poor. Another thing I like to do is Fair Trade Friday, and I shared about that a few weeks ago on Periscope. So you can find that video if you want on catch.me/Rachel E. Lundy. And I like Fair Trade Friday because it is so super easy. I don't have to do anything. I just had to set up the initial payment, and then it's all taken care of for me. I may not be able to do it long term, but for now it's something I can do, and it's physically very easy for me, and it's just a very practical way to help women who are poor around the world. Number 2, speak with wisdom. Verse 26 says, she opens her mouth with wisdom, and the teaching of kindness is on her tongue. The Proverbs 31 woman is wise, and when she speaks, words of wisdom come out. So she has wisdom to share. You may not have the energy to teach a Bible study or to teach a Sunday school class, so maybe you can't share your wisdom in those ways, but you can share your wisdom with your husband, with your children, with friends. So grow in wisdom. If you have a chronic illness, you can grow in wisdom, and you can share wisdom with others through your conversations. Proverbs 9:10 says that the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding. Proverbs 2:6 says, for the Lord gives wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. So how do you grow in wisdom? You read God's word. You study his word daily. This is his written words. If you want to know what God says, you read his words, and that is where you will grow in wisdom. And then you can speak those words of wisdom, and you can teach with kindness, and let the words of wisdom and the teaching of kindness be on your tongue. Number 3 is avoid idleness. Sorry, I'm having a hard time breathing today. Okay, verse 27 says, she looks well to the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. I think this is a very important verse in this passage, especially for those of us who are chronically ill, because when you read this chapter, you see that this woman is not idle. She works hard. She is making clothes, she's planting a vineyard, she's doing all these amazing things. And if you have a chronic illness, there may be times when you feel like you're being idle because you can't do all these things that the Proverbs 31 woman does. So you might feel like you're being useless, but it's important to remember there's a difference between resting because you have to and being idle. I'm not able to cook a meal or go shopping. I can't do most of the things, the physical tasks that the Proverbs 31 woman does. But I can pay the bills while I'm resting in bed. I can do the taxes while I'm sitting in my recliner. The way I help my husband looks very different than the way it does for other wives. But when I do what I can with the energy God has given me, then I'm being wise with the energy I have, and that's not being idle. It's important to remember that if you cannot physically do something, then God has not called you to do that. So if you cannot physically plant a vineyard like the Proverbs 31 woman does, then you're not called to plant a vineyard. Now, probably most of us aren't called to plant vineyards, but maybe you have a garden at your house, or every household needs to do grocery shopping. Maybe you can do those things, maybe you can't. Maybe you can do the grocery shopping, but you can't do the grocery shopping and make supper that night. Well, it's not being idle if you don't do both of those. It's okay to just do what you can do. So do the grocery shopping and then hire your servants at Subway to take care of supper. You can watch the video from a couple weeks ago to learn about hiring servants as a Proverbs 31 woman. So maybe you can clean the house, but you can't clean the house and make supper one day. So talk to your husband and decide together what the best use of your time and energy is. Because when you use your energy wisely, you aren't being idle. A few years ago, when my health was declining and I had to spend a lot more time in bed than was usual for me, I started thinking, oh my goodness, I'm wasting my time. I'm being idle. I need to spend more time reading and studying the Bible. I'm spending too much time watching TV. So for a few days, I really tried hard to do more reading, and I ended up a brain-fogged, confused mess. It was not pretty. And I realized, oh, I really can't do that much reading. I really do need to just lie in bed and rest and watch TV for a couple hours a day. And I ended up writing a blog post called something like, when watching TV is a wise use of your time. And I said at the end of it, I watch TV to the glory of God. And sometimes that's what I have to do. I have found that sometimes my brain just needs rest, and I can't keep pushing myself. I have to take a break from the taxes, or take a break from Bible study, or take a break from whatever mental task I'm doing and just rest. So just remember, there's a difference between being idle and resting because you need to. I would love to hear your tips for being a Proverbs 31 woman with a chronic illness. So you're welcome to share those in the comments, or send me a tweet, or send me an email. Yes, yep, sometimes your brain just needs to rest, and sometimes watching TV is a wise use of time. So yeah, I would love to hear some of your tips for being a Proverbs 31 woman. You can email me at Rachel Lundy at cranberryteatime.com, or send me a tweet on Twitter. Thanks so much for joining me for Monday Tea Time today. I hope to see you again next week, and I will have a special guest with me next week. My daughter Adelaide really likes Periscope. She likes to watch videos with me, and she likes to tap on the screen and send lots of hearts. So I asked her if she wants to do a Periscope with me, and she does. So next week I will have Adelaide with me. You get to meet her. And it'll be a little bit late. It'll be probably closer to 4 o'clock Central Time, because I'll have to wait till Adelaide gets home from school and we go through homework and that sort of thing. So hopefully I will see you next week for Monday Tea Time at 4 o'clock. Sorry, we've got flies in the house. But thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate all of you being here. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the hearts. I love chatting with you in this space. Y'all have a good week, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye.